What a weekend of sports do we have? Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew Perry, coming live and at you. Welcome to the latest edition of Drew Media Live for this Monday, the 27th day of April, the year 2020. And of course, this is yours. Once again, this is yours, truly, Andrew L. Perry, coming live and at you from the busy streets of New York City as I chat to you what is happening in the world of sports. Well, we have plenty to discuss right now as far as the NFL draft is concerned. But before we get into the NFL draft, I'm gonna kick the show off talking about the number one documentary show in America as we speak right now, and that is The Last Dance, which is, those of you who don't know what is The Last Dance, 30 for 30 documentary of the Chicago Bulls of what's happening. So 3 and 4. Everybody biggest discussion is how in the middle of the road that in the middle of everything that Dennis Rodman took the vacation for Dennis Rodman decided to took a vacation to Las Vegas, and that's one of the main topic that's one of the main topics that really jumps out there, of course. Of course, everybody's talking about why Jerry Kurz, made an announcement in the middle of the year, in the middle of the 1988 season, that Phil Jackson will not be back as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. So Michael Jordan said if he don't want to play with no coach, he don't want to play with no other coach but Phil Jackson. So if Phil Jackson goes, I go. So that was pretty much the last. They pretty much said it in '98, when after the Super Bowl, that's when the big comeback before the NBA Finals in the regular season, like after or during the All-Star break, I'm not too sure. There was 34-11, and the Utah Jazz was down. They went to play the Utah Jazz. They was down. I don't remember how much points they were down by, but the Jazz came all the way back and beat the Chicago Bulls and beat the Chicago Bulls twice that year in 1998, and that in 1998. So that really would jump out at me. But the thing that I really like was, of course, the rivalry with the Pistons and the Bulls. It was really, really fascinating and really, 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 really classic. The Game 7 in 1989, and Pippen had a migraine, and he really couldn't function, as you could see. His eye, he couldn't see. His eye was blurry. He had he wasn't feeling too well, basically, and the Bulls got destroyed by the Detroit Pistons, and it's basically simple as this. And then in 1991, when the Bulls finally went to the NBA Finals that year, that they met the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals and got swept. But in Game 4, put the Detroit Pistons out of mystery, and then everybody remembers the famous. The Detroit Pistons just went straight to the locker room with 7 seconds remaining, 7.2 seconds remaining, and they didn't answer. They didn't shake Michael Jordan in the hand or anything. And then Isaiah said, it was part of the game. It was part of that time. Listen, they could say whatever they want. They really don't like the Bulls, and the Bulls didn't really like them. So it was a lot of bad blood between the Pistons and the Bulls. A lot of bad blood. Go back to 1988, I believe. 1988. That's when the rivalry really started between the Pistons and the Bulls, between the Detroit Pistons and the Bulls. And even though it was. I still believe one of the greatest defensive teams. They beat the hell out of you. And basketball in the 70s and the 80s was a lot physical back then. Not like today, where if you whine, you get a. Everybody keeps saying that how basketball is not what it used to be, and too much. First of all, There's a lot of reasons. One, there's not too much offense. They let these guys. Some of it, guys are more stronger, more bigger, more taller. I will say, more bigger, more stronger, more physical, more nasty. You name it. But to, in my eyes, the reason, in my eyes, they don't have the mentality that. But when I grew up, the mentality of defense, you're not going to throw all over me, and that's all there's to it. And if I have to bruise you to do it, then so be it. But they don't have that mentality anymore. And part of it too, the refs make too many rules as far as that. Everybody make up the rules as go along. The point is, it's offense versus defense. If you play better defense and the ball go in the basket anyway, and you find a way to make a shot, that's the definition of you're a great player. In my eyes, not just you make a shot and let the defense do whatever the hell he wants and this and that. You think that crossover with James Harden would have got leveled. And there's some guys who need to get leveled in the NBA. To be honest with you, not this happy offense, which I don't like. I like to see more. I'm one of those guys. I would love to see more intensity in the NBA. I would like to see more intensity. I would like to see it, because everybody's scared. Everybody's scared to get hurt. Everybody's scared to get hurt. That's the nature of sports. I hate to tell y'all, folks. Anybody who watch sports, any sport for that matter, every sport doesn't. Let me say this: every sport you play, there's injuries and risk involved. And if you don't understand that, then you know what? You should not put on that uniform. You shouldn't even step on that court. Not just for basketball in general, for any sport. And honestly, I'm getting sick and tired of guys, getting sick and tired of athletes. Listen, part of me feel like they're doing a much better job. Athletes are doing a much better job taking care of themselves health-wise. But you gotta understand what you're getting yourself into. You gotta understand that. Whatever you get, it's not everything is going to be handed to you. You got to go get it. And there are some teams out there like the Pistons that will make it so hard. You really think the Golden State Warriors will go against these Detroit bad boys? They're going to come out bruising, especially Draymond Green. You really think Stephen Curry is going to make all those shots? You really think Klay Thompson is going to make all those shots? You really think Kevin Durant is going to dunk and do whatever he wants? It's not that simple. But I say this to say that, Michael Jordan, I still believe is the greatest athlete I've ever seen. Period. It's not even close. And anybody tell you other. Everybody say, and by the way, let me say this. I know I said this 1,000 times. Anybody who said LeBron is better than Jordan, and that includes my little brother Adam, let me say this to y'all. Y'all need your head examined. LeBron is a great player. Nobody's saying that. But he's not cerebral like Michael. He is not cerebral like Michael. Let's cut to the chase. That's what made Jordan great. He is very, very a cerebral type of player. He will kill you to win. That's what makes Michael Jordan great. Now, let's get back to the documentary. And back to the point. The Pistons rivalry, the Pistons-Bulls rivalry. That is the type of rivalry that you love. One team don't like the other. Bill Laimbeer still hate the Bulls to this day. Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas don't like each other. Even Michael Jordan, when his explanation, even Michael Jordan said when he asked about what Isaiah said about why give his explanation why he didn't shake Michael Jordan's hand at the end of that 1991 series in game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals in 1991. And Isaiah Thomas' explanation was it was a different time back then. Things were this is what you do. The Boston Celtics did the same thing in '88. In '88, when the Pistons finally beat them, and they didn't shake their hands except for Kevin McHale, who only shook Isaiah Thomas. But outside of that, that's how it is, and that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah and no, but Michael Jordan's believe it was bullshit. But you know what? I kind of figured that Michael Jordan going to say it's bullshit. It's straight up bullshit. You know, but it's neither here or there. Because without if the Bulls didn't go through the Pistons, the Chicago Bulls of the world would not be as juggernauts like it were today. Just like without the Celtics, the Pistons wouldn't be the team that they are today. To be the team that they would be remembered for today, so to speak. If it wasn't for the Sixers, now nobody mentioned this. Even though the Sixers only won one title, but remember in this early '80s, the Celtics and the Sixers was going back and forth. Was going back from 81. I'm gonna go 81 to 83 when the Celtics and the Julius Erving Celtics and Julius Dr. J Sixers battle Larry Bird Celtics. Without you could pretty much say without the Sixers. If the Sixers would have made the Larry Bird Celtics tough, but remember the Celtics already won the title in '81, so they really the Celtics was the king of the East, and you could pretty much say back in the late '70s to early '80s too that the Sixers was the king of the '80s. So from that standpoint, you but. Once again, I'm getting off topic with the Last Dance, but the episode 5 and 6 is going to be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that as well. But the more you watch the Last Dance is really, 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 really fascinating. Really, really fascinating, and I like the fact that Michael Jordan and the boys. Michael Jordan was voting for. Let's move forward when they got to the plane. That year when that Super Bowl when the Packers lost to the Denver Broncos and Michael Jordan placed a bet against a bet on the Denver Broncos to win the game. So that was cool. So outside of that, I'm looking forward to episode 5 and 6 and see where it goes. So where it goes and stuff like that. And yeah. The only thing I will be honest that I don't remember was I don't remember I remember the 1992 and 93 NBA Finals, but I don't remember the 1991 NBA Finals. To be honest, looking back when I was like 5 or 6 years, I was 6 or 7 years old, something like that, and I don't remember it at all. But I didn't expect it to be I didn't expect it to be a quick series, to be honest with you. I didn't realize it was a quick series. I really think it was I thought it ended at 6 or something like that, but I expect it to be a quick series, but hey, but I guess that's how the cookie crumbles and stuff like that. All right, so that's the story. That's what's happening as far as the Last Dance. So let's recap the NFL draft for a second. A lot is happening as far as teams being upgraded. I like what the Colts. The thing that really jumps at me as far as the draft is concerned, I like what the Colts did, getting Jacob Eason. Jacob Eason, the Washington, I tell you,